So moving on from Georgia, and speaking about the crazy money that is exchanging hands, we talked a little bit just a few minutes ago about the shift that the schools are throwing of money around, particularly this year because the rev share change is coming, and so starting in the last week or so, starting to be a rumor about how much money people are actually spending. Last year, it was a big deal that everybody thought Ohio State was spending like $20 million, and oh, look at that big money. Well, now
And
it's
now
starting to
that's normal
right
now.
now it's starting to come out that maybe there were a lot of other schools that were spending more money last year, but now we've kind of got one on record. Uh, Texas. It's rumored that they're going to be spending between $35 and $40 million on their roster this year. And if you saw what they did in recruiting, you kind of understand why.
It
They
doesn't
bought. Go
it
ahead.
doesn't shock me at all. I
Yeah.
mean, Texas is probably the richest program out there, maybe outside of Oregon, just because Oregon has the Nike connection. But I mean, Texas has all that oil money, right?
Right. Right. And we kind of saw it coming, right? When Justice Terry, who was almost a lock for Georgia, and if it wasn't Georgia, it was going to be Auburn for years. This guy was either going to Georgia or going to Auburn. Georgia and Auburn had made good NIL offers. They felt really good. And then all of a sudden on signing day, where did he commit? Texas. And the
Yep.
rumor was that the offer was like 2 or 3 times what Georgia and Auburn were both offering, and their offers were about the same.
I thought he said in an interview that it was just Texas made a ridiculous offer that he couldn't refuse.
He said it was a business decision.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that was his exact words. So
Yeah. I mean, can't fault a guy for that. I mean, and it's not like going to Texas is bad for your development.
no. They landed the number one recruiting class. Obviously, they're now in the SEC. They've got a lot of momentum. Now, there were some other people talking and saying, oh, the SEC now runs through Texas.
Not so fast, my friend.
Last time I checked, Georgia beat Texas twice last year.
How many?
Not once, but twice, and still won the conference. So Texas may be on the rise, and they may be buying players, and they've got a good program and a good head coach, but I wouldn't be so sure to say that the SEC runs through Texas just yet.
Yeah. Someone in the SEC has to take down Georgia besides Alabama.
Right. And not to say that Alabama is still not that team.
That's true. They did well on the recruiting trail, and
they lost the greatest coach ever.
They did.
Like, give them a break for a year. I just don't think that they are gone quite yet. And obviously Georgia is just 2 years removed from back-to-back championships and still won the conference. So that's a pretty bold claim.
Yeah. I mean, people said that, Georgia had a bad year last year, but we still won the SEC.
Right. And so all this has come out this week, and there's lots of talk about Arch Manning and how good Arch Manning is going to be. And yesterday they announced that the NFL draft in 2027 is going to be in Washington, D.C. I think actually President Trump announced it, which was interesting. But all the people, kind of the Texas people, were like, oh, Arch Manning is going to be drafted in the nation's capital and all this stuff. And I'm like, that's the 2027 draft. Last time I checked, Arch Manning is going to be eligible for the draft next year. And if Texas is good and he plays good, he doesn't have to be great. If he plays good, he's going to be a first-round pick next year. So I don't see him passing up the draft next year unless he doesn't play that well. But if he doesn't play that well this year, he's not going to be the number one overall pick the next year.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if he hits like somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 yards and, maybe 30 something touchdowns, 30 to 40 responsible, he's number one draft pick.
Yeah. All he has to do is just be better than Quinn Ewers was last year. And Quinn Ewers got his team to the semifinals of the playoffs.
Yeah. Yep. And Quinn Ewers didn't have,
he didn't have the
impressive numbers.
Right.
He didn't have impressive numbers. I mean, Carson Beck had better numbers than Quinn Ewers.
Right. And so, like I said, I saw that and I kind of put that out there on Twitter, and man, some Texas people jumped down my throat. This was the exact quote that came back to me. The family doesn't leave college early. They know how important college reps are to long-term success, and are wealthy enough not to chase bait. What? I don't care who you are. I don't care what family you're from. The chance to be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft as a
It's
quarterback, nobody's going to
rarefied
pass that
air.
up. It doesn't matter what the family said when they came to school or when they committed there, or what Archie Manning has said. It's his grandfather. You're going to tell a kid, hey, kid, you're going to be a top 10 pick, but you're going to come back to school next year? Why would you do that to him? He's sat there for 2 years. He's been a backup for 2 years. This is his time to start. If he plays well enough, I don't see any reason he's not in the NFL after next year.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, with that pedigree, like I said, if he just has a decent year and Texas can make it a little bit further in the playoff, maybe make it to the national title game. I don't know. If they win the SEC, that'll be a huge deal. And then they can start talking crap about the SEC running through Texas. But
right.
Until that happens, it doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, right now, a lot of these people have been releasing their post-spring top 25s. Texas is the highest rated team in the SEC in every one of them I've seen. And usually they're like third or fourth, where Georgia's like eighth, seventh, eighth in most of them. So if you think that Texas is that good and Georgia, who would be their next biggest competitor, is not quite as good as them, and they win the conference and Arch Manning leads them to it and leads them in the playoffs, I don't see how he's not going in the 2026 NFL draft.
Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, rankings don't mean as much as they used to.